Her father-in-law pushed the envelope across the table like it was some kind offer gesture. "We think it's best for everyone," he said with a tight smile. "You've had your fun, but our son deserves someone who can keep up." I didn't touch it. My husband blinked, confused. "Dad, what is this?" His mother chimed in. "It's not personal, sweetie. We just think it's time he outgrew fairy tales." "Hi, my name is Ayla Shaw. I've been married to Leon for 3 years, and he's always believed I'm just a quiet girl who works a modest tech job, likes cheap coffee, and lives simple. He doesn't know that I'm a silent co-founder of the very company where his father serves as a director, and that every decision he's made for the last 5 years has passed through my hands first. This dinner, I requested it. This table, I chose it. This envelope, I expected it. I opened it. Inside, a check. $500,000 to walk away from Leon. I looked up slowly. His parents watched me, already planning his future like I was some forgettable footnote. I folded the check, slipped it back in the envelope, and slid it back, unopened. Leon stared at me, then at his parents. "What the hell is this?" His father didn't blink. "Security, sweetheart. This woman, she's not your future. She's a phase." My husband looked like he'd been slapped. I remained quiet. I wanted to see their full colors. No filter, no restraint. And tonight they showed them. "Take the check," his mother said, turning to me. "Start over. We'll even help you relocate." I let out a quiet breath, almost a laugh. "Do you think I married Leon for money?" I asked. His father leaned forward. "I think women like you, who don't come from much, always find their way to men like my son." "Women like me." I smiled, then turned to Leon. "I didn't want to tell you like this," I said gently. "I never cared about impressing them. I only ever wanted you to love me for me." "What are you talking about?" he asked. I pulled a business card from my coat and slid it across the table. His father's eyes twitched when he saw the logo. "Our company?" I nodded once. "I've owned 49% of it since before you even made director." And just like that, the room went cold. The silence after I said it felt surgical. Leon looked at me like he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. His father went pale, completely. "You're lying," he muttered. I raised an eyebrow. "Want me to recite the Articles of Incorporation? Or maybe remind you who approved your recent bonus structure?" His lips parted, but nothing came out. My husband picked up the business card, turning it over in disbelief. "Wait, 49%. His mom laughed nervously. "That's not possible. You're just a, what? A nobody." "That's what you saw," I said gently. "Because that's what I let you see." I turned back to Leon. I stayed silent because I wanted one part of my life not defined by leverage, by money, by people who think love comes with a receipt. His father finally found his voice. "If this is true, then why come here at all?" I met his gaze. "I came because I wanted to see who you were, when you thought I was beneath you." His fists clenched. "You humiliated us." "No," I said, rising from my seat. "You did that all by yourselves." Then I looked at Leon, ready to go. We left the restaurant in silence. Leon didn't speak until we were halfway home. "You were going to keep this from me forever?" I glanced at him. "No. But I wasn't going to tell you at dinner while your father tried to buy me off like a seasonal intern." He looked away. "I don't know what to feel." "Start with the truth," I said. "You married a woman who builds quietly, who doesn't need to wear money to prove worth." He was quiet for a long time. Then softly, "You let me believe we were struggling." "We weren't," I said. "I just wanted a real relationship." not a performance. Later that night, his father called twice. I let both go to voicemail. Then came a message. One line, "We need to talk. This affects the board." There it was. He'd finally connected the dots. Because I didn't just co-own the company, I held a patent on the software that made their recent billion-dollar valuation possible. And unlike his inflated titles, my name was actually on the paperwork. They tried to erase me with a check. Now they were learning. Power doesn't always look loud until it speaks. The next board meeting was scheduled for Thursday. I didn't RSVP. Instead, I showed up early, not in a suit, but in the same gray sweater they'd always mocked when I picked Leon up from events. I wanted them to recognize me, not as a stranger, but as the woman they tried to dismiss. The moment I stepped into the glass conference room, silence hit like a pressure drop. His father sat at the head of the table, already pale. Two directors whispered. One man from legal looked like he'd swallowed bad shrimp. I took the empty seat at the far end. They waited for me to speak. I didn't. Instead, I opened my leather folder and placed a single page in front of me, the original founder agreement, co-signed by the original investors. The document that proved not only my 49% stake, but the veto rights clause his father had forgotten about. The meeting began. I let them go through the motions. Then, right as the vote began on a major acquisition, one his father had already promised shareholders, I quietly raised my hand. Vetoed. The room stopped. I leaned back. "Shall we talk now?" His father's voice was tight. "Ayla, this acquisition is strategic. We've already announced it." "You announced it," I corrected, "without consulting the co-founder, without a board vote, and definitely without checking clause 17.3. The legal advisor shifted uncomfortably. He knew I was right. One of the directors leaned forward. "This puts us in breach of investor disclosure laws." I didn't smile. I wasn't here for revenge. I was here to remind them that the woman they tried to pay off was the same woman who protected this company's core infrastructure when they didn't even know what two-factor authentication was. "I'm not trying to sink the ship," I said. "I'm trying to steer it." His father clenched his fists. "You're making this personal." "No," I replied. "You did that the moment you slid that envelope across the table and tried to trade your son's happiness for your illusion of control." Silence followed, until one of the younger board members finally said, "Maybe it's time we stop treating Ms. Shaw like a threat and start recognizing her as a partner." I stood. "Good," I said. "Because starting tomorrow, I'm not just your silent partner anymore. I'm stepping into the light." The press release went live Monday morning at 9 a.m. Ayla Shaw named co-CEO of Linhard Global after strategic board restructure. Within minutes, texts rolled in, former colleagues, old college friends, even two of Leon's cousins who once joked that he'd married up. The story hit differently now. I wasn't just the wife. I was the woman steering the company they all thought I had no place in. I walked into headquarters without a badge. The receptionist stood when she saw me enter the executive elevator. His father was already there, alone. He wouldn't speak for 5 floors. Then he said, "You think you've won?" I looked straight ahead. This was never a game. He scoffed. "You humiliated me." I turned to him, calm. "No. You humiliated yourself the moment you confused quiet for weakness." The elevator opened. I stepped out first. That day, I made 2 major changes. First, I rehired the junior developer team he'd laid off last quarter for budget optics. Second, I reassigned him to a non-voting advisory role, still paid, still present, but no longer in the room when real decisions happened. He didn't argue. Because he knew. The The woman he dismissed at dinner was now the one signing off on his parking spot. Leon met me on the rooftop that evening, the same one where we first talked about dreams bigger than anything around us. He leaned against the railing, looking out at the skyline. "You really never planned to tell me?" he asked softly. I stood beside him. "Not until I knew for sure you loved me for the woman, not the name." He nodded slowly. "And now?" "Now the name is mine. But the reason it means anything is still you." He reached into his coat, pulled out the envelope from that dinner, creased, still sealed. "I never opened it," he said. "Didn't need to." I took it, looked down at the offer his parents had written to erase me. Then I tore it in half. Not for drama, but because it never mattered. "I'm sorry they saw you that way," he whispered. I looked at him. "They only saw what I let them." He smiled. "Still the quiet one?" I shook my head. "Not anymore." Behind us, the lights of our company glowed across the high-rise glass. No longer just his. No longer hidden. I didn't need to shout. I just waited, until the silence was mine to break. "Black Heart,"